They make you feel guilty for having peace because they're toxic and they love toxic conversations. They make you feel guilty for their moods because you're happy when they're upset. You can't be happy if they're in a mood. But they're always in a mood because they're miserable. What is stealing your peace? Hello, welcome to Choose You. What is stealing your peace? Your peace is in this circle. This is your peace. Your peace of mind. Okay. What things do you think will be stealing your peace of mind? The first thing I think is overthinking. Overthinking creates mental noise. Overthinking, I put equals mental noise. Overthinking, especially for women, are things like, thinking about kids, thinking about bills, your future, your mistakes, the past, regrets, anything like that. Overthinking can be things in the past, it could be things in the future. It could be, should I do this course? Should I do this course? Should I work full time? Should I deduct my hours? Overthinking is mental noise. So this could be replaying conversations, things in the past. This could be worrying about bills, money, relationships, friendships. This could be simply blaming yourself. Mental noise. These are things that are stealing your peace. Even though your body is present, your mind is somewhere else. The second thing that steals your peace is people pleasing. Should we do it over here? Let's do it down here. People pleasing. If you see or hear anything in the back, it's my kitty. People pleasing equals self betrayal. Every yes that you give that you actually want to say no, you're abandoning yourself, you're betraying yourself. Okay? Saying you're going to help somebody when really your body wants to say no. When you're the understanding one, the flexible one, the forgiving one, do you know what it's costing you? It's costing your peace. Okay? So I'm going to write this down. Yes, when I mean no. It's a skill that you really have to work on. You're still allowed to help people and be there, but with limits and with boundaries. There's something I wanted to do for somebody today. But I've already done quite a bit already, and I said no, not because I couldn't do it, not because I didn't have the time, because I didn't want to fall back into that people pleasing mode where people are entitled to your time and entitled to your kindness. People pleasing could be avoiding conflict. You don't want to hurt the other person by telling them how you feel. So you don't tell them how you feel and you avoid conflict. This actually steals your peace and it's very sneaky. The next one, putting yourself last. I don't know if it even looks, I don't even know how that looks. Putting yourself, handwriting's awful, but please bear with me. Putting yourself last. Let's just say you have a day free and you decide to do something for somebody else all day, and you have not chilled out, you have not gone to the gym, you haven't done any errands, anything that will help you relax, feel better, move you forward, or just make you happy in general, you would say no, because this person needs help, this person needs to go shopping, this person needs something. There's always going to be somebody that needs something from you, and if you keep putting yourself last and people pleasing, you will abandon yourself. So every time you betray yourself, you keep someone else comfortable, your peace pays the price. Okay, next one. I'm going to move over to the other side of the board. Number 3, toxic conversations. Can I put this here? Can we do a... I'm just going to put that here so it just kind of stays out the way. I'm going to put it here. Toxic convos. You know what I mean by that, right? It might look a mess, but you get what I mean. Toxic conversations. You know, you leave feeling guilty, you leave feeling small, defensive. You're always trying to prove something. Today I was in Primark, and a girl kept defending herself, and I could just tell the other person on the other line doesn't want to understand her, but she doesn't understand that that person will never understand her no matter how much she shouts, yells, or tries to explain a situation. I know after that interaction she was drained. That was a very toxic toxic conversation. She should have hung up on that because she ended up looking absolutely crazy in Primark. So toxic relationships equals emotional traps. You're trapped emotionally. What do I mean by that? Emotional traps. You're looping, you're explaining to the person again and again and again why you're right, why that person's wrong, why this, why that. This person knows you're in the right. This person knows, they know what they're doing with these toxic conversations. They want you to over-explain. They want you to defend yourself. It makes them happy. And then when they hear you getting upset and angry, I'm telling you, they provoke you even more. And then you try to, it's a vicious cycle. Once you know you're in that toxic conversation, you hang up. It's happened to me recently where someone tried to engage in a toxic conversation with me. You know, they said something that they knew would annoy me, that would have me defending myself, and I said, oh, okay, well, if you think that, then that's fine. And I left it as that because you want me to defend myself, you want me to get upset because you're miserable. Yeah? Toxic conversations. They don't want you, a lot of the time people enter toxic conversations with you because they see that you're at peace, you're happy, you're glowing, and they're like, nah, I need to disturb that, I need to get her in an emotional trap. Nope, you're not going to do that. They want you confused. Don't you confused. They want you, sorry guys, defensive. And most of all, they want you, I don't have any space, drained. I made the circle so big. I made the circle too big. I feel like I don't know why I made that circle so big. Let's make it nice and small so we've got a bit more space. It was a circle, but now it's a cloud. Yes. Toxic conversations. That's why I end up squashing everything in there because it doesn't look that great. And they want you to doubt yourself and to doubt, and they want to instill doubt in you. So you leave the conversation thinking, am I in the wrong? Am I the toxic one? Is it me? When you knew you were so sure at the start of that conversation that it was not you, when you leave, you feel doubt. Like I said, some of these conversations, they're not conversations. They are traps. They are emotional traps to make you feel confused, defensive, drained, and doubtful. I'm telling you, don't fall for it. When you actually get to that point where you're like, hold on, this person's trying to make me defend myself. Yeah, when I understood that, I was like, okay, well, if you think that way, that's fine. And I left it. If you see the look on their face, they were like, oh, she's not trying to defend herself. No, because you already want to misunderstand me. That's fine. You don't want to understand me. Doesn't matter what I say or what I do, you just don't. That's fine. That's okay. You don't have to. Not everything has to be understood. Those that understand. But those that don't, that's their business. Okay, the next point. What's the next thing that steals your peace? So we've got overthinking, people pleasing, toxic conversations. Okay, now we've got, I like this one. When I actually clocked this particular one, I was like, you sneaky buggers. I'm gonna try and move it out a bit. I don't know if you can you see it? Yeah, guilt. People want you to feel guilty. When I started pulling back from people that were toxic or that were not good for me, and I started, I wasn't cutting them off. I was just, deciding not to, get caught up in toxic conversations. and get pulled into these emotional traps where they leave me overthinking and they have me people pleasing, they started to make me feel guilty. So when you stop the toxic conversations, you stop the overthinking, you stop the people pleasing, then they make you feel guilty. It's very. There's so much types of guilt, because we have self-guilt, guilt for resting, guilt for ending a relationship, guilt for ending a friendship, especially if that relationship, that person is going through a hard time, the friend is going through a hard time, you feel guilty for putting yourself first. So you put yourself last if you're a people pleaser. Okay? So there's a thing called false guilt. False guilt is someone who makes you feel guilty for not engaging in toxic relationships. Okay? They make you feel guilty for resting because they want you to people please and pick them up from here and drop them here and listen to their them venting about the man they're never going to leave. Also, when someone's in a mood and they're miserable and they want to have a toxic conversation with you and dump that misery onto you, you don't absorb that energy, they're not going to like you for that. They want you to feel guilty for being happy when they're in a mood. So you feel guilty for their moods. So it's like you can't be happy, I don't know, because you got a new job, or because it's Friday, because they're in a mood, because they're going through stuff. They want you to feel guilty for their choices in life. They chose that friendship, they chose that job, they chose that man, that woman. They want you to feel guilty for that. So when you say stuff like, oh, my man bought me flowers, they're like, oh, you're lucky, my man did. It's like, now you feel guilty for being happy. They make you feel guilty for having peace because they're toxic and they love toxic conversations. They make you feel guilty for their moods because you're happy when they're upset. You can't be happy if they're in a mood. But they're always in a mood because they're miserable. And especially they make you feel guilty for their expectations. They'll make you feel guilty because they expect you to, I don't know, pick up the phone when they call you. So they make you feel guilty when you don't do that. But all they want is toxic conversations, pull you in emotional traps. Do you know what? At the top, I'm going to write this. Misery. A lot of the times, they are full of misery. And they make you feel guilty because you're not miserable. They make you feel guilty for their choices. They make you feel guilty for having your peace. They're miserable, you're at peace. So they have to make you feel guilty. They have to engage in toxic conversations with you. They have to have you people pleasing, which is betraying yourself. They need to say yes when you want to say no. They want you to avoid conflict by when they say passive aggressive comments. You avoid the conflict by doing what? Smiling. Smiling to avoid the conflict. Which is people pleasing because you're abandoning yourself. It's the games, that the sneaky ways that your peace can be stolen. It is something else. It really is. It really is. Another thing, they make you feel guilty for so many things. And you have to break out of the pattern. If they're in a mood, which they usually are because they're miserable because of their choices. They're miserable because their expectations are too high from people that they won't even, they expect, let's just say, a toxic parent would expect you to bend over backwards when they haven't even done the bare minimum. And they make you feel guilty. And expect you to pick up the phone every time they call, even though they've been distant for weeks. Because they want to leave you confused, defensive, drained, doubtful. Yeah. They want you to people please, betray yourself. And when you don't people please, you find your peace. When you don't overthink, replay, worry, blame yourself, you're at peace. Let me know in the comments what other things you think is stealing your peace. Oh, I like this one. trying to control everything. Let me put a line on it. Yeah, I should just do a little speech bubble, innit? They want to control everything. Just point it to the piece, which steals your peace. You can't relax unless the house is clean and organized, the children are sorted, money's good, you know, you've sent messages, you've made plans, everybody's mood is handled before you get your peace. That actually steals your peace, trying to control everything. Let the house be upside down now and then. Give the kids nuggets and chips now and then. Sometimes you have to, put yourself first. I'll put that as the last part. Sometimes you've got to put yourself first in order to keep your peace. Yes. You know, trying to prevent people from being upset, prevent things going wrong, you know, prevent so many. You can't stop trying to control things, trying to predict everything, trying to fix everything, trying to, what else we've got here? I'm gonna get some space here because I've got another one as well. Trying to manage moods. Let some people be upset sometimes. Doesn't matter who it is. Let people. That looks awful. Sorry. Sometimes let people be in a mood. You know, sometimes, you know, just whatever happens, happens. You know? Number 6. What steals your peace? Okay, I'm gonna just put this like that so we can, because space is getting tight. I put giving, can you even see that? Access to draining people. Ooh, that is awful, isn't it? Giving access to draining people. I'm sorry, as I run out of space, it gets a bit, yeah, maybe I should make my writing a bit smaller. Giving access to draining people. Sometimes it's like you don't have it. It's not that you have no peace. It's that you give access to too many people, too many draining people. You know, access on who can call you and change your whole mood. How can a phone call change your whole mood for the day? How can someone that has access to you by sending you one message, then all of a sudden you're upset? You know, you keep explaining yourself, you keep forgiving, and then you feel empty afterwards. Okay? So I'm going to put access drains peace. Let me just change this, because I don't like the way this looks. I'm a perfectionist. Maybe I am. I don't know. Or maybe it's going to annoy you. Oh, this looks awful now. So I'm going to put access drains peace. I don't think that's any better than before, but hey, we move. We actually move. So examples, when someone calls you when they need something. So I put availability, always available. Let's put available. Always available. I'm going to put trauma dumping. Like I said in my other videos, people have called my phone and been on the phone for 4 hours, I kid you not, talking about nonsense. Absolute nonsense. They dump their problems on you, but they don't even ask how you are. Or if you're going through something, they disappear. They're nowhere to be seen. That's how you know. Yeah, you gave too much access. They took it for granted. They're taking the mick, mate. That person that makes everything an emergency. I know you know somebody like this. Oh my God. Help. Every time they call you, it's like, oh my God, did you hear? Or you wouldn't guess what? Oh, I'm just gonna put help. It's always something. It is flipping draining. It is draining. Because imagine that there was an emergency now. They're not going to pick up the phone because they're going to think, oh my God, this person's so draining, I'm not going to pick up my phone. Or people actually end up leaving your presence, or the person's presence, so drained they sleep for hours, or they just need to decompress because they are so draining. And they make you feel so guilty for having boundaries. I remember I spoke to someone at one point when I was cutting back on my people pleasing, and I said, yeah, from now on I'm just gonna, help myself. And they were like, you can't do that. I said, what? They said, you can't do that, people need you. I was like, yeah, I need me more. I have boundaries now. Can't call my phone for 4 hours. You can't trauma dump. Not everything's help. They just want access to your peace, and it actually drains your peace. They want to vent every day, vent every day, talking about things that they could change. You give them the solutions, they're still venting. You can always tell when someone's just chatting absolute rubbish, when they're like, okay, this happened, and you go, oh, okay, I've got the solution, here it is, and they look at you like, huh? They're not like, oh, thanks, let me try that. They go quiet because they don't want a solution. They want to vent. They want to trauma dump. They want you to be available to their nonsense. Number 7. I don't like this bit here, so I'm going to take this off to make me more space. I'm going to take this bit off. Oh, I'm going to wipe off the whole thing. My God. Ignoring your own needs. You know what? I'm going to do a worksheet for this, I'm going to do how to, I don't know, but what is stealing your peace? This deserves a worksheet to make sure we bring it back, because we can easily get caught up in toxic conversations, feel guilty, go back into people pleasing mode, overthink, get caught up in emotional traps, ignore our needs. How do we ignore our needs? It doesn't even look like it. And the thing is, you can't even tell. Do you know why? Because after a while, you say to yourself, I haven't eaten all day. Not eating. Especially if you're a foodie and you haven't eaten, you're ignoring your needs. When's the last time you had a bit of salad? When's the last time you had some water? A good night's sleep. For a good sleep. If you have not eaten, have not drank water, can't remember, you're ignoring yourself. You're ignoring your needs. Obviously, certain things in certain places, certain times, certain seasons. Like maybe if you have a newborn baby, then you have to somewhat ignore your needs to a certain extent. That's why you need support and family to help you, because you won't eat, you won't drink water, and you will not have a good night's sleep. That's why family's meant to come and help you. Support, just like what I was talking about before. Do you have support? Do you have real friends? Do you have family that, if you call them and say, oh my God, these kids are driving me crazy, I need a couple of hours, they say, yeah, sure, drop them over. Or I need to go on holiday, can you take the kids for a couple of days? Yeah, sure. Do you have support? Because I really feel like if you don't, the same people who are making you feel guilty are engaging in toxic relationships with you, and you're people pleasing, and who are accessing you to drain your peace, if you cannot get support from them, and I'm going to put that underneath misery, if they do not support you, you already know what time it is. You already know what time it is. I don't have much space on here, I don't have much space. I'm just going to speak about a few more points. I'm not going to go into detail because I don't have space. I like my little diagram. So, let's look at, let's get rid of guilt actually. Let's get rid of this side. So ask me why I got rid of this side. I don't know why I'm acting like this is permanent. I can just, start again. Unprocessed pain. You need to process it, guys. You need to process it, talk to a friend, a therapist. There's loads of therapists or there's loads of life coaches online that will help you go through this. There's loads of places that you can process your pain. For me, it's the gym. For me, if I'm upset, if I feel any negative emotion, I have to walk. I have to train. I have to. That's how I process my pain. You know, because, you know, things that you don't process, they do come up eventually. As you get older, you get angry, you get bitter, you get miserable. Yeah. So what kind of things are related to unprocessed pain? Unsaid words. When you were people pleasing and you avoided conflict, there's a lot of things you didn't say. It's gonna fester in your mind, body and spirit. Old anger. There was a point where I used to try my best to not be angry, and it got to a point where it's like, there's certain ways that you have to get your anger out. That's why people dance, they go to the gym, they talk, boxing's really good. There's something about boxing that, obviously not professionally, there's something about boxing that allows you to process pain. I can't explain it. Disappointment. I feel like disappointment, you know, this pain, I feel like the pain of being disappointed in yourself is so much more heavier than being disappointed in someone else. Disappointed that you let people get away with it, letting you engage in toxic conversations, making you defensive, making you doubtful, always luring you into emotional traps, not giving you any support. I'm disappointed I allowed a miserable person or people to steal my peace. I'm disappointed that I allowed people to access my peace, allowed them to trauma dump, cross my boundaries and vent to me. I'm disappointed that I blame myself for so long. I'm disappointed that I people please for so long. These are ways to help you process the pain. If you don't, it's just going to fester. You're going to be miserable. You're going to have old anger. You're going to have grief. You're going to grieve that life you should have had. You're going to grieve the guy you should have chose. You're going to grieve that job that you declined. You're going to grieve it. You're going to be, you know, it's just going to be a lot. And this steals your peace. I'm definitely going to do a worksheet book. I'm not sure when, but I definitely need to do a worksheet book about what is stealing your peace. I feel like it's very, very important. So under here it says what is in your piece. I'm gonna do a few bullet points of things you can ask yourself. Who drains me? Who drains me? Who drains you? Is it your partner? Is it your family? Who drains you? Ask yourself that question. What am I forcing? Am I forcing relationships? Am I forcing friendships? Am I forcing it? Where am I over-explaining? I used to explain why I got a hairstyle. I used to explain why I chose that dress. What is that? What do I need to release? What do I need to release? I think these will be some amazing journal prompts. Anyone that journals, I think these will be some amazing journal prompts that you can use. Definitely going to add this onto my worksheet. What boundary? This right here is something that, you know, I'm even going to take this off because I need to put this at the bottom. And I'm going to finish up this video by saying this. What boundary would give me peace back? Can you give some example, guys? Give me an example. Tell me to give you some example, girls. Boundary. Did I say it right? The boundaries that gave me peace back: go no contact with highly toxic people. No contact, and I put low contact. I put low. Short phone calls. Phone calls. If you want to go deeper, texts instead of phone calls. Put texts instead. Boundary. Say no when you feel like it. The other day was my gym day, and my body just felt so drained. I was so tired, and I said to myself, no. Even though it's something that's going to help me in the future, my body is telling me no. My body is telling me not today. I am tired. I listen to my body. Usually it's like, no, go to the gym. No. I said no to myself. That was my boundary to myself. And what that did, it gave me more energy for the next day. Saying no is important. What else can I think of off the top of my head for boundaries? No contact, low contact, short phone calls, text instead, saying no, becoming less available. Have you noticed I've gone deeper than just no contact? A lot of people say just no contact. You can't go no contact with everyone in the world. You just can't. But anyway, this is my visual video for what is stealing your peace. If you like this video, please like, comment, subscribe. Hopefully by the time this video comes out, I'll have a worksheet available to you. If not, make sure you subscribe, like, and I'll see you for the next video. Bye.